Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up with you.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Yo, hello everybody. How in the world are you doing? This is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian sensation, and we're back at it again here on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. You know I'm the voice, and you know I am the choice. And we're here right now over in the Prototype Studio, our new home of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, located over in Wheaton, Maryland, which is over in the greater Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. As always, guys, it is great to be here recording another episode. By the time that you actually get this, we're actually already in the month of October, but it's probably going to be like the 18th or something like that. So by then, you know, guys, happy October. We're doing it. Fall has arrived. You know, it's great times here. The time has passed, and it's good because, you know, we're seeing the leaves falling. It's showing the actual quality of what the autumn season is. You know, we're seeing a little bit of that symptom. We're also feeling a little bit of the cold breeze in the morning, because when I stepped outside this morning, outside of my home, and I was like catching my breath, I was breathing, I was just trying to, you know, start the day to be awake. You know, I could feel that cold breeze in the morning. You know, it's not like how it is in the summer where it's like really, really, you know, warm, and it's like, you know, there's nothing to it. The breeze is coming, guys. So, you know, that means that we can actually wear hoodies now and jackets and so forth. I mean, it isn't to a point where we're going to be, you know, wearing it all day, but it's to a point now, hey, the time has come. So it's good, and I'm happy. It's a good time. It's a real good time. So I'm very happy with that, and I'm just happy to be here over at the Prototype Studio. I got in earlier today, and it was incredible. You know, I saw Bob. You know, he greeted me. He's the guy that actually helps out around here over in the Prototype Studio. He's actually doing a project where he's doing some cabling and wiring. So basically, our internet is pretty good and pretty fast, but with this wiring job that he's going to do, we're going to get, you know, stuff online even faster than it already is. Now, I thought to myself, like, you know, with the internet speed that we have currently, there's no way in the world that, you know, that can go any faster. Like, this is probably as good as it's going to be, and I'm very happy about it. But when I was told that, you know, we can even get faster internet, I was like, yo, yeah, sign me in. I'm down. I'm locked in. Just like that. You know, if I'm going to go ahead and search for something online and I need to find something real fast, there it is. You know, quick as a flash. Boom. You know, instant. This is what I need. Boop. There it is. Nothing more need to be said. And I'm happy about it. It's awesome. I did see Hector for a little bit. We actually chatted for a little while. You know, him and I, we had a cup of coffee over in the break room, but he's actually on assignment for us. So, you know, I do appreciate that guy, because he's a hard-working guy. He's a hard-working dude, you know, and it's incredible. And as always, you know, I'm here in the booth here creating banger after banger after banger of an episode. And I enjoy it. You know, I really do it because of the fact that, you know, number one, they say that people that are very creative, you know, it helps out with them in the world. You know, it helps, you know, give them a focus, and they don't have to focus so much on, like, you know, negativity, and they can just, you know, go on their lives and not have to worry about, you know, the depression or anxiety or just, like, you know, mental health, in a bad way, just consume them. They can be consumed by the creativity process, and I think it's incredible, and I think it's amazing. And I do this because I love to be creative, but I do it for you guys in hopes that you really do enjoy what I bring out to the tables for you guys. And that's all that I can hope for. If people do like it, it's great. And I'm definitely down with it. If not, it is what it is. And I know I'm going to say it a little bit later on today. So be prepared, folks, that I will be talking about this for quite a while. So it will hit on many, many different instances and avenues and all that stuff. Trust. It's bound to happen, folks. It will happen. And, that's the way that I see it. That's, it is what it is. So there you go. Without any further delay, I'm going to go ahead and get into it because there's a lot that's going to happen today. I'm going to talk about some stuff that I'm, happy and comfortable with. It's definitely going to be in my wheelhouse. And there's going to be certain things that I know today. We have a very interesting Q&A. I can't wait for that. It's just going to be dope and exciting. So can't wait for that. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Lately I had a lot of people ask me a lot of things about, why I decided to be in podcasting. And to them, it's a real good question. And they really wanted to know more about it. And I think that I have mentioned about it before, like I've really talked about it. And, I'll just say this. For all intents and purposes, if I already did talk about it, in a, method of actually putting it as a full-fledged episode of my podcast, I do apologize, and I'm sorry about that, I guess it just does bear repeating, and, maybe there's some things here that you probably didn't hear before, or I'm bringing to the light for the first time. And, if that is the case, then there you go. If not, then that's good. I'm that's why we're here. We're here to inform people. We're here to have a good time with it, and that's all that matters. So, the story goes is that back in 2017 or 2018, I think it was one of those years, I really had the idea of wanting to do my own podcast. And, it was something that was really clawing in my brain for quite a while. You know what I mean? I knew that there was a lot of people that was getting into it, a lot of famous people, and even a lot of local people that I knew. And I felt like, you know what? I'm an actor. We do like to be out there and to talk a lot. We do like to do things in the sense that, we love to do this and we love to do that and be expressive and everything. So why can't I do this? I think that it would be incredible and it'd be lovely. And I think that, if given the opportunity, I think that this is something that, I could do. So why not? I think that this is going to be a great opportunity for me to do this. And I think that, maybe I can do the same thing. Why not? Let's give it a shot. And initially, I had brought the idea to an old friend who I also used to work with over at the Apple Store in downtown Bethesda. A good friend of mine, Benton Green. And he had said, when I told him about this, when I told him everything, he had said that initially he was really interested. He was really, really on board with it, and that, he wouldn't mind. Because I told him what I wanted to do, my ideas, and how I wanted him to kind of be my co-host. Because it'd be like if this was Loveline, he'd be like the informative Dr. Drew. You know what I mean? And I'd be like the wild card in Adam Carolla. And I thought that would be a great dynamic. And when he said initially that he was interested, I was like really excited. I was on board with it. I was like, yo, yes, we got it. We're in there. And a few weeks later, I brought it up to him. and he just wasn't interested anymore. I just think that it was something where I think that he just didn't have it in his heart to do it anymore. I don't know what it was, but that's the situation. And I was like, damn, I can't believe it. It went from him being very interested in wanting to be in the podcast to him no longer being interested in being in the podcast. And I was really down about that. I was a little bit upset about it because I was thinking to myself, damn, I really thought that this was something that he wanted to be a part of. It seemed at the time he was very interested, and we talked about it, and it was at least in his eyes it was an incredible situation. But it is what it is. So I felt a little bit down about it, and I talked to one of my good friends, the late Jonathan Henderson. I invited him over for Korean barbecue on a late night, and we talked about it, and he knew I was down because, he's one of those guys that, he could just tell. He had this natural gift to know about what was going on. So when I told him about what happened and, how it went down, and, the fact that, he was no longer interested, and I didn't know whether to do it or not anymore, he just said that, he knew me and he knew my heart. And he knew that I was, the type of person that was very interested in this type of thing, because being an actor, he said, you have a voice and you know how to use it. And it would be a great idea. It'd be a cool transition. And I think that you have what it takes. I think everybody does need to hear you out. And why not? I don't think that it's fair to, deny, a natural gift or ability of what you have and transition it into something different of podcasting. You should go ahead and do that. And you would be very disappointed if you didn't try for it, that you didn't attempt to chase that dream. So if I was you, I would do anything and everything I can to save up for those resources and to do whatever that you can to make this a reality. And I at that point I was like, you know what, John, you're absolutely right, man. I don't see why this can't happen. I don't see why not. If anything, I think that we really should. And at that point, I knew that was what I wanted to do. It took a little bit. But, it finally happened. Few years later, in 2020, the famous year of the pandemic, when it really hit the fan, I really wasn't doing anything. I was working, and then no longer I was working because a lot of businesses were closed down. And with my company at the time that I was working for, they didn't need me at the time because they were just trying to save up money in the budget just so that they could have like the main people work there for a while. Like if you were a manager or an assistant manager, you were working and your job was there. If you were like a regular associate or something below that, it's like we don't need you for right now. So I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. At that point, I was like, okay, well, I got to do something. I really got to do something, and, it's really aching at me. So let's go ahead and figure it out. And I took even more time to try to figure this out. And I said to myself, yeah, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it. And, I did it. It took a while, but I saved up enough money for, a microphone that I bought over at Amazon Prime. And I got like an audio interface to connect to my computer. I got a microphone for my iPhone. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of diving in blind. And I thought to myself, well, if I don't do this now, I will never get a chance in life to do it. So there is no better time than now to really go for it and see where I go with this. And sure enough, we were hitting the ground running. Mind you, I was wearing training wheels, and I don't even know how I was navigating it. I think I was just hoping for the best that, I would get on the bike and kind of steer my way around, even though I was going slow. But I was hoping that, things would work out the way that I was hoping it would. And, God willing, it did. It really did. And it was incredible, and it was lovely, and I was very, very happy just for the simple fact that, we got it done. We got it done, and it was incredible. And we finally got things rolling. It took a little bit, step by step, gradually picking up, where we needed to go. But we did it, including trying to find out what combination worked, of how to record, how to actually edit the podcast episode, where to post it, because, at the time, I knew that I wanted to put my stuff out there, but I didn't want to pay a lot of money, every year to get my stuff out there. But, given the time and the circumstances, and with the advice with a lot of other podcasters that I knew, I learned a little bit here and there, and I got some tidbits, and I got some clues, people pointing me in the right direction, and I felt good. I felt good. And now that looking at where I started, from the very first episode to the present moment in time, I really got to appreciate, the process of how I got there, and where I am right now. I've learned a lot. In the 4 years of being on, the podcasting world, and I usually say 4 years and 3 seasons later. 4 years and 3 seasons later, we're still here. We're still doing it. We're still making it work, and it is incredible, and I love it. And I just hope that, anybody who wants to do this, I hope that you get inspired. I truly believe that podcasting is for everybody. It's just, it all starts with an idea and a dream. And if you want to make it happen, make it happen. But you got to make sure this is what you want to do. Don't do it because, let me think. Don't do it because it's cool. Don't do it because everybody else is doing it. Do it because you want to do it, and do it because you want to have fun with it, and it's a creative medium, and it's a part of your creative process. When you do it like that, you enjoy it much more. And just understand that you're not the bigwigs. You're not going to make a lot of money, unless for some reason you got signed to a deal. But you're not going to make any money out of it. And that's okay. Unless that's what you're kind of striving for later on, sure, you can go ahead and jump down that rabbit hole. But for all intents and purposes, we're doing it because we like it. We do it because we like it. We do it because we enjoy it. It's fun. And, we get some kind of form of enrichment, excitement, and we just hope that, it's all in the good name of entertainment and creativity. That's what I think. And, I'm just really glad to still be doing it after all this time. I know that there are some people that do like what I like, or let me repeat that. They like what I love to do. They like everything that I'm putting out there on the table. They like, how I'm doing it. And in that case, I'm like, thank you so much for your love and support. I truly appreciate it. I really do. And there's going to be some people that unfortunately may not like what I do. They think it's a waste of time, and they think that, I should keep my mouth quiet, and, I should leave it to the professionals. And although technically, there are people that, you do have a right to say whatever you want to say, because in the United States, we have a right to freedom of speech and so forth. But if I can be fair and honest, the way I came up is that if you got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Like, seriously, just, stay in your lane and keep quiet. Just because we're doing something and we're having a good time out of it doesn't mean that you have to be a negative Nancy and rain on the parade. If you think that you can do a good job, a better job in podcasting, go for it. I'm not saying that you can't. Go for it. Make your own podcast. Do what you want to do. But if not, and if you're just a critic and you want to keep on yapping, then my advice to you is just shut up. Plain and simple. Keep quiet. Let us do what we do. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing. Like, if to all my friends that are musicians, you get this. You're starting a band and you're playing and you're having a good time. And somebody says, dude, you suck. You are the sorriest band out there. Well, guess what? You're doing it for your enjoyment and you're trying to share your gift with the world. And for all those negative Nancys and Kevins out there and Karens, if you think you can do better, do it. Make it happen. But if you're not going to do anything, again, keep quiet and stay in your lane. That's all I got to say. Nothing further other than that. So to all my brothers and sisters out there, if you want to do it, do it. Go ahead and pursue the dream of podcasting. I'm with you. I am a living and breathing proof that if you put your mind to it and you really want to make it happen, you can make it happen. You can accomplish anything. And there you go. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm just happy to do what I do in this process. And as long as I still have air in my lungs and I wake up every morning, I'm going to still keep doing what I do in the podcasting world. I'm never going to stop. And that's the bottom line. That's how I will do it. So right now we're going to go ahead and do our thing. We're going to take 5. We're going to come right back with another round 2 of the Kim Hoang podcast episode. The Kim Hoang podcast experience. So stay tuned, guys, because, round 1 is done. Round 2 will be coming up real soon, and you don't want to miss it. All right, guys, we'll see you in a bit. I want to tell you about an amazing store that's really good for all musicians, music enthusiasts, and a whole lot more, which is Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center in Wheaton, Maryland. That's right. You heard it correctly. Since 1958, Chuck Levin's has been actually tearing up the game when it comes to the music scene. And guess what? Since 1958, they have been the store to go to and a must-visit destination for any serious musician passing through our nation's capital. So, if you're actually a person that's in a band looking for a new instrument, such as an electric guitar, an acoustic guitar, a bass guitar, or maybe some drums, if you're a DJ looking for like the greatest DJ equipment, such as turntables and so forth, they got you. Hey, are you actually in an orchestra playing a woodwind instrument, brass instrument, or strings? They got you. They got all the classical instruments that you need. And let's not forget, for all my fellow podcasters, need a microphone? They got you. Need a podcasting vocal track recorder? They got you. They got everything, man. And I'm telling you, it's the best place to go. So if you want to check them out, go ahead and do so, because right here at Chuck Levin's, they're the best. Forget the rest. Mess with the best. Located over at 11151 Veers Mill Road in Wheaton, Maryland. They're open Monday through Saturdays, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. If you want to know more about what they have to offer, you can go over to chucklevins.com online or give them a buzz at area code 301-946-8808. Chuck Levin's Washington Music Center. Like I said before, don't worry about the rest. Mess with the best.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. I'm glad that you're back. Yeah, it was a good one. It was a real good one. I basically took a little time to just kind of decompress. I was drinking a little bit of some hot coffee and I was playing video games. So that was just something that I do to kind of, keep my mind off things and to kind of control the nervousness, if you will, because I want to give you a little secret of the pros. Some of us that are podcasters, as much as we are very confident and we have a good time recording, doing our thing, some of us, I'm not saying all of us, but some of us, we do get a little nervous, and sometimes from time to time, we need to do something to kind of take the nervousness away. So sometimes it could be, something as playing video games, or we play with a fidget spinner. Sometimes we just go outside and breathe. Some of us, we partake in some kind of like a beverage like coffee or tea or something, and sometimes we do something a little bit physical like stretching out or doing whatever. Either way, it takes that anxiety and that nervousness away, and it helps us to kind of refocus and rechannel our energy. And that's where we're at right now. I'm just here once again having a good time, spending it with you guys and just having a blast. I think that every time that I'm here, I always have a blast. And, whether if it's a real good theme or a bad theme or a theme where maybe you might question it and be like, I'm always going to have a good time. That's the bottom line. I love what I do, and it's great. Now that we've got that out of the way, we're going to go into the second round of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. And, I want to take this time to actually dedicate this segment to all the martial art instructors out there. You know what I mean? Because I think it's important as a martial artist, we really have to be respectful and grateful for all of our instructors, teachers, our grandmasters that really helped us, become the person that we are today. Because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be who we are today in terms of being that martial artist with that great physical ability, with that great mental knowledge, and with the rank that, was awarded to us. Whether if you're, a black belt, or if you are let's say a green belt, or a blue belt, or a brown belt, you earned that rank, and you got that rank because not only did you work hard for it, but it was your instructor that helped you out. Yes, you did do the work, and I'm very proud of you, and I don't want to take that away from anybody. You did do the work, but your instructor was the one that helped you get there. Because why? When you first got into the martial arts, when anybody gets into the martial arts for the first time, we didn't start, from anywhere. We didn't even have a white belt. It was more like, you had to earn your white belt, or at least for some martial arts schools, that's the criteria, that you come in as a no belt and you have to earn that first belt, the white belt. You know what I mean? And to actually go through the motions, going through the rank, climbing up the ladder, it's great to see, that change, that evolution of oneself, of yourself. And I think that the one person that was there from the very beginning was your instructor. Your instructor took the time out of their busy schedule to see, the person before them today. Now, I say they because, your instructor could be a man, could be a woman. And now these days, I've seen instructors that are, they don't have a pronoun. They're a they, them. But your instructor was the one that saw you through everything, through thick and thin. From the very beginning, from the moment you stepped into that dojo and actually took a look at the class and said, hey, I'm interested, and then meeting them and talking to them about what it's all about, and you having the questions, and you were talking about your interests and, your hopes and dreams and aspirations. They were the ones. They were the ones taking the time out of their schedule to help you learn a certain form or a certain technique or things that you needed to know, and kept on doing it and doing it and doing it until you kept on getting better and better and getting higher and higher in rank. You know what I mean? It means a lot, and it says a lot. It says to me, in my opinion, that your instructor is the one person that really does care for your well-being and for, your life-changing processes as not only a martial artist, but as a person. And I see that as a person of the martial arts, being where I am now and thinking back to the very beginning, I see it now. And I realized it. I didn't know about it then, because I was too young in my rank to understand the situation. I wasn't mature enough to know about that type of situation. And I'll be one to admit that. I really do. I'll be the one to admit that, and just to say that, I did not know it all. I didn't. And I will say this: my progress and my process in the martial arts was a very interesting one, because I came from a situation where I got bullied a lot. And when I got beat up one time, when it was like 5 against 1, and my best friend saved me by using all of these martial arts moves of things that I've only seen in the movies and on TV, I didn't think it was real. I thought he just learned straight from the television. And then when I found out later on, his dad came over to check out to see what was going on, and he told his dad everything. I didn't know that his father, who will later become my instructor, was a man of martial arts and had his own karate school. I was floored away. And I will say this, that all the times, that I was there on the floor, he was always there. And he was always watching. And he was always there to see, how not only I was doing, but all the other students were doing. Because, as a martial arts instructor, you have a responsibility. And as my martial arts instructor said, from his perspective, you all are my children. And I have a responsibility to you as the father to make sure that you get everything that you need. All the proper education, all the knowledge, and to teach you everything that you need to learn. And everything that I can teach you, I can teach you. But it's up to you at that point, going forward, to keep on practicing and to maintain what you know of the knowledge that I teach you. Because, if you don't use it, you lose it. And those were important words that I heard. I'd never heard anything like that. And the fact that he actually said that, and he explained it, and he meant that stuff, I'm like, dude, wow, that's incredible. That is incredible. And, I am very grateful for my instructors, for my teachers. Every single one of them. Because without them, I wouldn't be the martial artist that I am today. I wouldn't be a person of 3rd degree black belt. All the times that I needed their help, they were there for me. And when I needed to know something, if I needed to ask that question, they were there to go ahead and answer it just like that. And they were just like, oh, well, it's because of this, this, and this, you know. And I see it. I see it now, you know, because I'm paying it forward, because I have a couple of people that, you know, look at me from, you know, that standpoint, and they ask me the questions. And as you know, me being part of the instruction team and being an instructor for them, helping them out, you know, I want to see them succeed and have the success. Because, you know, if the black belt instructors took time out of their schedule to see me succeed and helping me get to where I needed to go, it's only right and fair that I do the same for the other upcoming students, you know, the future black belts that really want to get into, you know, the same type of rank that I'm earning, you know, or maybe even beyond. Either way, I'm grateful, you know, because it's without them, I wouldn't have been anywhere in life knowing, you know, the stuff that I know. I mean, the martial arts wouldn't even exist without them, you know, and I'm forever grateful for them, because of the fact that they really said to me that they wanted me to succeed, and they wanted me to do well, and they wanted me to go as far as I can take it, you know, until I can't do it anymore. And you know what? It's because of, you know, that love, that respect and appreciation, man, it's incredible. It's incredible. And I'm, you know, and as a black belt now, I realize it, and you know, I see, you know, why they did what they did. And I want to be the person to, you know, to carry on that tradition, you know, to each one teach one. I want to make sure that they get their education as well as the, you know, how I got my education from the same teacher, of course. But, you know, sometimes the main instructor can't be there. Who's in the front lines? We are. We're there to help all the white belts, all the yellow belts, all the green and blue and brown belts. We're there to help them. We're because we want them to succeed, and we want them to be prepared for the world. We want them to have the knowledge so that they can go ahead and walk in life and not be scared. You know, that, you know, they can walk the path and know that they got everything that they need. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like the saying goes that, you know, that you walk by faith and not by sight. You walk by faith because of the fact that you are trained to know all this material, and you have the faith in the world that it works because you've seen it, you've learned it, it's being explained to you. So therefore, you have the confidence in that knowledge, and you have the confidence in yourself to exercise that knowledge. And I got to say this, like, there are many instructors that I want to thank in my journey. And I will say the following, you know who you are. And I want to say thank you, because without your love and support, without your knowledge, your guidance and showing me the way, I don't know where I would have been. I really don't know where I would have been. I you know, for all I know, I just would have been lost. Just lost in the world. And, you know, I don't want to be that person that's lost. I want to be a person that is ready to navigate his life. He has a compass. He has a map. You know, he has some kind of GPS tracking system. He knows what to do. I want to be that person. And, you know, I'm slowly getting there. Slowly but surely. And I'm very happy for, you know, what it is that I'm doing in my life. And it's incredible. It's incredible. Where I go from here, I don't know. But, you know, I just hope that I will carry on the traditions that, you know, my instructors passed on to me. so I can pass it on to the next generation, because I want the next generation of students to have the same kind of teaching that my instructors gave me, and I want them to kind of go through the same motions that I did, because I believe that it will help them to become better people and stronger people. And I think that where there is a will, there is a way. But, without the help of your instructors guiding you to where you need to go, it's going to be impossible. And I really want to thank them so much. As they say in the Korean terms, because I take a Korean martial art, the Taekwondo, I want to say kamsamhamnida, which is thank you. And all I have to say is that I love them. I love them, and I appreciate them, especially the main one who helped me out so much. You know who you are, because you've always said that you loved me like a son, and damn, you treated me like one too. The fact that you treated me like one of your own, and despite the fact that the major differences that we have in life, that never seemed to matter. And the fact that you treat me like a son, and you said that I am your son in a sense, I'm very proud of that. And every time that I wear that 3rd degree black belt, it's because of you. Because of you and your guidance and your love and support. The way that you teach is incredible. You are a man among men. And to all the instructors that helped me along the way in that same school, I got to thank each and every one of you too, because you guys were also an important piece that built the whole picture of the puzzle. And it's great and it's incredible. And I just hope that I follow in your footsteps, so that I can become just as great as you guys. I truly mean that. And where we go from here, I don't know, but I'm just hoping it's going to be up, and up. That's what I'm hoping for. So my love and respect to all of my instructors that helped me out from that one school. You guys are amazing. You guys are incredible. There are a few females instructors in there, and that helped me along the way, and I have love for them too. I love them dearly, because they helped me to get where I am today because of their love and support. I never forgot it, and I never will. It'll always be instilled in me forever, for the fact that who got me here, they got me there. So to all the martial arts instructors out there, just letting you know that your students appreciate you for what you've done for them. And I hope and pray that you continue on doing that for many, many years to come. And I hope that your students, who hopefully are a positive reflection of what you are and what you teach them, that they do the same thing for their next students, for the next generation of black belts. Because we need to have real good, solid instructors. Not the ones that do it for the money. Not the ones that are greedy. Not the ones that are doing it for the fame. And definitely not the ones that are just, they talk a lot, but they don't walk that path, It's like saying, you can talk the talk, but if you can't walk the walk, what good is it? So we're going to go ahead and take a moment. We're going to take a pause. When we come back, round 3 and the greatest portion of our podcast, the Q&A forum, question and answer. I'm excited for it. You should too. So take a moment, take a pause for the cause, come right back, because the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is coming at you, baby. And we're just getting started. We're getting red hot. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a bit. In life, we all want to have great health and excellent physical fitness. However, it's never given, only earned. That said, if you want to go to a gym that will help you to get there, then look no further than Kicked Up Fitness at National Business Parkway in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. Their mission at Kicked Up is to provide the ultimate functioning training facility that focuses solely on your success, with a diverse team that's highly qualified and dedicated to taking your fitness goals to the next level. Kicked Up also offers a variety of group classes and personal training programs that provide something for everyone, regardless of your fitness level. They believe in working hard, achieving results, all while having fun. So come visit their facility in person, which is located at 114 National Business Parkway, Suite 100 in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, 20701. Now, if you see my friend Sean Queen, who's the owner of Kicked Up, tell him that Benny Chow of Miscalculated sent you, and he'll hook you up with a complimentary 7-day pass just to try it out. Need more info? Give him a call. 410-888-9066. Email them at kufitnessnbp@gmail.com or visit them at their website at www.kufitnessnbp.com. Kicked Up Fitness. Never given, only earned.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
All right, everybody. Hello. Welcome back to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. And you know what? We've had a great episode. I am just happy to be here and to share my thoughts and to, give what I can to you guys when it comes to doing it up and for giving you an episode that you might possibly either have fun with, that you might like, that you may find informative. Either way, it is a pleasure. It is a pleasure and it is an honor to be here. And I'm really excited that, we have come to this part of the episode. Now, before we get into anything, as a friendly reminder, guys, I would like to actually announce that the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience is asking for help on a voluntary basis to anyone out there, any loyal listener or just anybody in general who likes podcasts that would support and to assist our podcast show by the ways of sponsorship and or financially donating to our podcast show to help make the quality of our podcast that much better. Now, any proceeds / money that we raise will go to our podcast and getting things that we need, stuff like, more equipment and better equipment to help improve that quality. And we need such things as, more microphones for in-studio guests, the XLR cables that are required for those type of microphones, headphones that we need for in-studio guests. We're also trying to raise money for like a brand new computer, like a MacBook Pro, so that we can actually edit the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience and do it in the best fashion as we can with the help of that MacBook Pro and so forth. Whatever you can donate is very, very helpful. No matter if it's as, big as, here's the joke, if you want to donate $5 million, which would be generous, but I don't think anybody would donate that much. But then again, you never know, to even as low as like $5. Every little bit helps, and we definitely would appreciate your help. You can, once again, it's on a voluntary basis, so you can donate at any time, and you can donate as frequently as you like. Now, if you want to go ahead and make a donation, you can do it by the following of PayPal, Venmo, and or CashApp. If you want to go PayPal and Venmo, you can do either or there at our screen name at KimHoangMDActor. That's KimHoangMDActor, or on the Cash App, which is the $ Kim Hoang MD Actor. That's once again the $ KimHoangMD ACTOR. And you can do it as much as you want, however you want, how frequently you want. Again, it is all voluntary, but we do appreciate it because, when it comes to this podcast, I truly believe that this podcast is meant for you guys. It's a community podcast. It's for everyone. You know what I mean? It's not just for me, and it's not just for, a certain amount of people. It's for everybody. It's for everybody worldwide. Anybody who loves a podcast, anybody that, is all about the artistry of podcasting, and just people like, everyday people like myself. If you're out there just like me, being an everyday person, boom, there it is. So anything that you guys can do, we really appreciate it. If you can spread the word about it, we appreciate it, whether if it's on social media or if it's in person, however you do it. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, we are reaching the main event of this podcast episode. That's right. The Q&A forum, the question and answers forum. 7 questions. You went in there and asked me the questions, and guess what? I answer them, and it's going to be good. It's going to be good. I can't wait. It's incredible. It is awesome. And I'm really excited. So if you guys are ready, I know I'm ready, and I'm ready to take it on. The Q&A forum, come at me, bro, because I'm ready to go. That said, we're going to start off with question number 1. Question number 1 is, Kim, the word on the street is that there will be a sequel to the Miscalculated movie that was recently debuted a few years back. Is this true? Kristen from Columbia, Maryland. Kristen, you hit it right on the nail, hon. That I can confirm without a shadow of a doubt that Miscalculated the movie part 2 will, it is a go. It is a go. I have it on good authority that the director, Ramel Xavier Morales, recently wrote on his, Facebook page, which is, social media, and he confirmed that, it's going to be a go. What's going to happen in terms of the plot, who is going to be the cast, who's going to be the crew, I'm not sure. The fact that they're going to have another Miscalculated movie again is something incredible, and I'm excited because I remember filming the very first Miscalculated movie, and that was like literally the talk of the town. You know what I mean? That was something that everybody was like really looking forward to it, because during that time, during the pandemic, I think it was like probably in like 2021, I think maybe, we filmed it, and we were one of the very few productions, we were one of the few movies that were actually filming, doing it out there, while we were still following the rules and guidelines of, wearing the masks and, being, practicing, safety in terms of like, social distancing. And for some of us, being, making sure that we were up to date with the COVID shots and everything like that. And it was just a blast to work on that set with, great people, of great energy. And the crew was amazing. They were very loving and supportive. And the cast members that, that I was working with directly, it was just a sense of like a good brotherhood and a good sisterhood. Just a good time hanging out and having a blast. I don't know, what's going to happen this time, but I can't wait to hear the news about everything, including if there's going to be an audition process, who's going to be involved, and the stunts and the fight choreography, where it's going to go. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely down for it. And I think Miscalculated 2 is something that does need to happen. I think it's going to be great, and I'm excited. And I'm very happy for Ramel. I'm happy for the Miscalculated team. There was a lot of questions about if it was going to go down. And now that we actually have it, right there in print on social media, through Ramel himself, the director. He actually confirmed it. So it's going to happen. I'm excited, and I hope that you guys too will too. If I know anything, I will let you guys know about it. I hope that somewhere down the line, and I'm throwing an open invitation to Ramel, I want to bring that dude as my guest. I think the last time, we tried to do it. It was good for what it was worth at the time, but I don't think that we did it correctly, and I want to do it right this time. I really do. I want to sit down with the guy, the man, the myth, the legend, to talk to him and see what's going on. Pick his brain, as him, as the person, as a director, as an artist. I want to really, go into that mind. I want to go into his cerebral cortex. So, Ramel, if you're out there, bro, I'm throwing the challenge, man. I want you to be my guest. Let's talk it out. You know what I mean? Let's have a good old time, a one-on-one, just chilling, doing our thing. You know what I mean? Let's make it happen, bro. All right, cool. That being said, question number 2. Which is better, CrossFit or traditional gym workouts? Jason from Bellingham, Massachusetts. Oh, God. Ooh. Both are really good. They're really good and they're really effective. I mean, they differ in their exercise varieties, intensities, and atmospheres. You know what I mean? Because CrossFit focuses on the functional movements that mimic real life activities, such as squats, lifts, and presses, which can work a lot of the multiple muscle groups all at once, where gyms are typically focused on isolated exercises that target a specific muscle group, like the biceps and the legs and all that stuff. CrossFit, it's very high intensity, it's very high impact, where the gym workouts are usually self-paced, so it doesn't have that same type of dynamic intensity and constantly changing exercises as the CrossFit. I can't really pick one or the other because I feel like it really depends on the individual. Me personally, I would pick whatever works better for me in the effectiveness. I haven't dabbed in CrossFitting. I wouldn't mind, I would be open to it, but I think that a lot of people say that CrossFit workouts are, it's, it can lead to injuries, a lot with the complex movements and so forth. But then again, I feel like anything that you do, it's like, there is a risk and a reward, so whatever happens, it is what it is. But as for right now, I think because I only do regular gym workouts, I prefer that. But again, I would do CrossFit. I would check that out. Question number 3, Kim, if you had to pick 5 of your favorite martial art movies, what would they be? Amanda from Jacksonville, Florida. Amanda, you know what? I actually talked about this a while ago, and yes, I can name them all. Any of the Karate Kid movies, 1, 2, or 3, that was from the 1980s to the 1990s, starring Ralph Macchio and Pat Morita. Best of the Best with Eric Roberts, Philip Brie, and of course the late James Earl Jones. Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. A very iconic movie of the martial arts. I think everyone who is a martial artist knows that movie. Anyone who's a movie buff, especially in the action genre, knows that movie. It's a classic. It's really awesome. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the live action movie that was in the 1990s. I liked that one, especially the first one. I thought it was pretty cool. And to cap it off, Rumble in the Bronx with Jackie Chan. First time ever that I saw a lead man in Jackie Chan do acting, the fight scenes, and the stunts all by himself. You don't believe me? Watch Rumble in the Bronx and then watch the bloopers after the movie. That stuff is incredible. You know what he does and what he did. You can't fake that. You know, doing all these fight scenes and sometimes you accidentally get hit or you might injure yourself or something like that. He laid it out all on the line for that movie and every other movie that he's been involved in for that matter. So, you know, there you go. Question number 4. Kim, what are your opinions on women that claim that they are married, but you know they aren't because they aren't wearing an engagement ring? Logan from Pocatello, Idaho. Wow, that's a random town and city. Logan, to be honest with you, here's the thing. Women can say that mainly because either A, you know, they have a boyfriend and they just want to, you know, have the hope that, you know, maybe they are going to go to that next step eventually. Maybe they want to go ahead and say that in front of you because they're not interested in you. Either way, I feel like there's some ways that I get it, but in the end, I don't, because I feel like you should really be honest. If you're not married, you're not married. If you're not married, but you're in a relationship, you know, like, you know, let me be more specific. If you're a woman that's not married, but is in a relationship, that's still okay, but be honest about it. You know, if you don't have a ring on that finger, to me, that usually means that, okay, you're at least to me, I feel like you're single, you know, but if you're not, and you just kind of keep on doing something like that where you tell people that you're married but you're not, you know, one, it's misleading to us, and number two, it makes you look like a liar. I think that women should really just be very honest in that, you know, situation, hands down. You know, I don't mean to sound very insensitive about that, but I feel like, you know, the truth is the truth, and, you know, honesty is the best policy. It's a lot easier to do it that way, you know what I'm saying? So there you go. All right. Question number 5. Kim, in the martial arts like karate and or taekwondo, why do I see other students, specifically black belts, wear different types of color uniforms? Jessie Marie from Cedar City, Utah. Jessie, exactly that. When you see black, you know, the reason why students of that particular rank wear different types of you know, uniforms other than like the traditional white ones is because it symbolizes that they're advanced students, they're black belts, you know what I mean? Case in point, when I started in taekwondo, all I was wearing was a white uniform, all white, you know what I mean? Which means that from white belt to brown belt, before you test for that black belt, you were still kind of like, you know, in the beginnings before you got into the real aspect of training of, you know, the martial art. You know, once I earned my black belt, then I was able to either wear my all white uniform and or my brand new black belt uniform, which is an all-white uniform with black trim around it, around the collar, around the wrist area, and sometimes there's like a black stripe that goes down the side of the pants, which means and symbolizes that is a black belt. And sometimes, depending on the art in the school, when you reach 3rd degree black belt and above, then you can wear like the all-black uniform. You know what I mean? And that's what it is, basically. You know, it's just to symbolize that, you know, that is an advanced student. That is a black belt student. They've been training. So now, you know, that's a part of their routine. Nothing more than just that. And I got to tell you, to all the black belts out there, you know who I'm talking to. When you earn that 1st degree black belt and you can, you know, and if you were only wearing a white uniform for the long time and they say now you can wear this uniform, that's another reason of, you know, being prideful of what you do, you know, in your training and so forth. So, yeah, you know what I mean? We earned that. We earned that. Question number 6. Kim, does not competing in martial art tournaments make a person any less of a martial artist in comparison to if they do? Kyle from Wichita, Kansas. And Kyle, the answer is no, it doesn't make you less of a martial artist. It just means that your focus is more towards studying the art and trying to train in the art and learn what you can. You don't have to train to go in a tournament. You don't. But I would say that training and competing in tournaments, when you compete in a tournament, it's fun. I do think it's fun. And I think, honestly, anybody who has not competed in a tournament, again, I've said it before, at least try it once. One time. And if it doesn't work out, fine. At that point, if you feel like that's not for me, cool. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's just the way that I figure. You know what I mean? So either that or if I didn't do that, I probably would just be a punching bag trying to be a comedian. There it is. So. All right. All right, where are we at? Okay. Last question. This one's an interesting one. I do like this one. Question number 7. Oh, excuse me for 1 second. Oh, man. Let me give you a piece of advice before we go into question number 7. If you're ever going to do a podcast, make sure before recording, don't eat it or drink anything if you're going to record within 5 or 10 minutes. If you eat or drink, I would say rest, wait, about 45 minutes to an hour later, you're good to go. That's all I got to say. Question number 7. Kim, is there a particular song that you like to listen to make you feel good? Whether if you're just trying to have celebrating a good time and or if you're just in a bad mood. Donna from Alpharetta, Georgia. Donna, this is going to sound weird, but the one song that I do like consistently that does kind of make me feel a little bit good, and I usually use it for when I'm really sad or pissed off or, something bad happened. But I guess in reality, too, I can listen to it on a regular day, which is okay. And by that, it's if I was happy and I was listening to it, at least I could be like, man, I like the song because it's a good beat, it's a good melody, and so forth, which is Under the Bridge from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I like that song a lot. I grew up with that song. I was in middle school when that song was made. That was from their second album. I think that's the second album, if I remember correctly, the second album was called Blood, Sugar, Sex, and Magic. And it's a real great song. It's just a song where somebody was really feeling bad and, they're really questioning life and they're trying to hold on, and, somehow at the end of the song, it's like, the song really saved, Anthony Kiedis, or his character. And I think that for me, that's a song that I do relate to a lot. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. I think it's something that I feel like it's a real, uplifting song for me. So that's my to-go-to song. Not many people would like that song for whatever reason. Maybe because it's not their genre of music. maybe it's not the thing that they like and whatnot. So I would say to you guys, if it works out for you, it works out great. So that's all the time that we got. 7 questions are done, which means it's the end of the podcast, guys. I'm really glad to have recorded this and, provided this for you guys. We're going to go ahead and do some closing thoughts because we are running out of time. Find us, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, on Facebook. Look us up on the search box, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Like us and follow us, and we appreciate the support. We are on other social media platforms, such as we are on Instagram and we are on Twitter, now known as X. Find us under the @ TKHPC Experience, all in one word. Find us, like us, follow us, and we'll follow you back. You know what I mean? We are on 5 podcasting platforms. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We are on Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and the podcasting platform / online book platform called Audible, which is powered by Amazon. And if you actually are not a member, you can join for a 1 week free subscription of membership. And if you like it after that 1 week, then you become a full-fledged member and pay a monthly fee of $15 a month. And that is not bad. For people that like podcasts and people that like, online books that they can listen to, that would be a good thing. That's like basically like a two for one, if you will, 2 for the price of 1. So that said, do me a favor, like and subscribe to my podcast on all of those platforms, as I was explaining. Please give our podcast a 5-star review on Spotify, and also give us a 5-star review and a positive written review on Apple Podcasts. The reason why we ask you to do that is because the more times that you do it for each of those podcasting platforms, then we'll get our name and our podcast thrown at the front of the lines. So when you look at Spotify or you look at Apple Podcasts, we're right there, and somebody could be like, oh my God, the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. This is the thing that Julie was telling me about. And she said, like it, subscribe to it, listen to it, love it, and spread the word. Yes, do all of that. All of that in a bag of chips. Now, if you want to be a special guest host, if you have any questions for our Q&A forum, or if you have any constructive criticism, please email us. Email us at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. Whatever the subject is, put the subject on. Whatever you want to write on the body of the email concerning that subject, go ahead and do that, and then send it out. I'll get the email, I'll read it, and within, I'll say about 1 or 2 days, you'll get a response back, because I do like that type of correspondence. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We love you guys, and we thank you for the love and support. It's always appreciative. We can't do this without you. You know what I mean? Please be safe out there and do the right things in life, and don't do anything that would deter your way of life in a negative way, because we want you to be healthy and happy. We don't want you to be doing something and you get buried under a pine box, being laid 6 feet under, because we believe that you deserve the good things in life. You deserve to be happy, and you deserve to live your life the best way that you can. We all do. You know what I mean? And if anybody tells you otherwise, go tell them to go kick rocks. You got no time for that. But that's all the time that I got, guys. Coming at you live from the Prototype Studio in Wheaton, Maryland, located in the greater Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. This is your boy, the Asian sensation, Kim Hoang. Once again, I'm the voice, and I'm the choice. I say thank you so much, guys. Keep it real. I love each and every one of y'all, and we'll do it again. See you around on another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. I'm out, guys.